this away
Happy
yet.
New Year. New Year means new goals, and maybe one of your goals this year is to burn as much money as possible. And I have a great solution for you. It's called esports. If you don't know, pretty much every single esports organization is vastly overvalued because they're all subsidized by venture capitalist groups that are probably going to get fed up in 3 to 5 years
said this every
when
day.
none of them are profitable, or crypto exchanges. And we know what's happening with crypto exchanges. Let's just take a look at the Forbes top 10 most valuable esports companies. At the top, you can see TSM, 100 Thieves, Liquid, and FaZe Clan. Well, let's just take a
Every time I say this, people say, "Dude, you know what you're talking about? Dude, you're not an investor. Dude, you're not a billionaire. You don't know what you're talking about." I've said this, chat, for the past like 5 years, and people always said it. But look at FaZe's numbers. But look at TSM. They're so rich, bro. No shit, man. They are literally printing money via fucking VC, man. It's all VC money. Of course they're rich. It's like they're getting cash injected, motherfucker. Of course, man.
At TSM, how are they doing? Oh, they had a deal with FTX that got suspended. It was worth $210 million. Okay.
VC is called venture capital. Okay. Venture capital. The way I can explain it to you. Okay.
The next Dono
The way I can explain venture capital. Okay. Is let's say
66 months.
Okay. Here's the easiest way. Here's the easiest way I can explain it to you. Okay. Okay. You go to the casino, okay, chat, with $200, okay, and you put $1 on bets on the roulette, right? With like number 3, number 4, number 8, number 22, number 30, okay, and you start betting every round. You bet like 10 chips on 10 little dots, right? $1 a pop, right? But then instead of $1, right, it's 10 million. Why? Because you're so fucking rich. It's what you do. You literally you invest, okay, into certain in companies, okay, almost like gambling, like high risk investment. It's a lot of money, but for them it's not a lot of money because they're fucking rich as shit. Okay, they're so rich they don't really care that much. Okay, and when it comes down to esports, most of the companies are the recipients of VC money, which is money from billionaires that are just going for the long shots. They hear esports is the next popping thing. No, they do. They take the $1 you would take at the casino, right, and they put it on 4. They put it on 6. They put it on 8. That's what they do. Okay, and all esports companies are currently the recipients, almost all, of VC money, which isn't bad, but you know it.
Hey, that's all right. Well, how about 100 Thieves? Are they? Oh, they laid off a bunch of people. Okay, well, you got to reduce overheads sometimes. Okay, what about Liquid? Oh, a deal with Coinbase for 4 years. Surely that will last. And finally, FaZe Clan. Okay, publicly traded company valued at 134 million. Wait, 400 million, 100. Okay, that dropped. Oh, that dropped really fast. Okay, well, that's look, not me just trying to make fun of esports orgs, because I like esports, and I like anyone who takes an attempt at making it work. It just doesn't seem like the economics of it match the ambitions of a lot of the people inside of the sphere. What does work, however? Content teams, influencers, signing content creators, which a lot of esports orgs do, and that seems to be the profitable part of their business, and it's also what some content teams do. I mean, take offline TV, for example. You put all these people in a room, they print out multiple million view videos that they can sell giant sponsors on. I mean, pretty much every one of their videos has a sponsor, and they're getting buku bucks for that with pretty low overhead because they each have their own individual careers. Now, imagine you could combine the content team of OTV with maybe the more rigid structure of an esports org, and you end up with something like OTK, One True King, a streamer-backed esports org that doesn't really do esports. I mean, they had a team in World of Warcraft, but they dropped the team, so they're pretty much just sticking with the good old-fashioned content creator route, which is smart because they're not only able to sell sponsors on the watch hours of all the people inside the org, they're also able to sell things directly to consumers with businesses they start, like Starforge Systems. I mean, imagine if I had Swipe Bidets, and then I had a team of 10 creators that I worked with all the time, and they all sold Swipe Bidets individually.
Also, I don't want to shit on computers too much, but the margins to make money are they're razor thin, and they're not worth it for out of all businesses, okay, that I would open, I think computers might be one of the last thing I would do. It's just it.
We get a lot of buttholes clean in the new year, so it makes sense. And don't just take my word for it. Let's look at the most popular Twitch teams by hours watched. Obviously, G Fuel at the top. They have 671 creators. xQc's org, he's up top there. Loaded, they have a bunch of big creators. And OTK is fourth. They're fourth with only 14 people, and a couple of their creators barely streamed over the past year. for reasons we're going to get into. Now, I haven't made any videos about OTK because, well, none of the individual pieces felt substantial enough to talk about for longer than a couple of minutes, but enough has happened over the past year, and especially with the update last night that ended the investigation on Mizkif, that I feel like we can talk about it all today. Now, we're going to get to the investigation with Mizkif at the end, but first, let's do things in order with what started off their terrible month of December, and it involves another one of their founders, Rich Campbell. Now, Rich Campbell, if you don't know, is a esports host turned streamer who did a lot of maybe the more business side of things behind OTK, and one of the people that he used to be in a relationship with, Lexi, on Twitter, dropped a tweet longer about a terrible experience she had with Rich. And I really recommend you read this on your
There's a new doc on Rich? Wait, why didn't I see that?
own, because I think I mean, it states how she feels about it more clearly and everything that happened more clearly. But I'm going to read you 2 excerpts. I'm not here to sleep with you, and I do not want that. That is Lexi to Rich Campbell when they were hanging out at Rich's place. And then Rich replied, by jerking off in front of her while continuing to talk about her getting pregnant and then begging her to have sex with him. After she said no, he continually attempted to take her clothes off. She kept saying no, and at the very end, he rolled her over and put himself inside of her and finished unprotected. That was hard to read, but it is a clear picture of sexual assault, rape, just outright. Now, Rich hasn't replied to this yet, but there were a lot of text messages that backed up them being together at that exact moment, him asking her to come over, etc., and it ended off with a text from him to her right after it ended with the same timeline saying, "You okay?" So I believe the account. You can wait for Rich Campbell's statement, which hasn't come out yet, but it's pretty clear that OTK also believes the statement, or at least is concerned enough about it that they instantly, and I mean instantly, dropped him. Within like hours of the statement coming out, he was booted from OTK,
Yeah, it was like 3 hours, I think.
which is big. I mean, he's one of the founders of it, and they kicked him out. So that was a terrible thing to happen. But the next week, the troubles didn't end for OTK as a whole because they lost a huge part of their organization, Jschlatt. Now,
Yeah.
it doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you the value that Jschlatt has on the YouTube algorithm. He's one of my most viewed videos on pretty much every single one of my channels, and he's part of the reason why Mogul Mail
Really?
even exists today, because the weekly slap is what inspired me originally. And he mutually agreed to leave OTK. Now, it might not seem like a big hit because, you know, he's not much of a streamer.
wonder,
He doesn't stream too often.
Was it because of all that and all the hot water being thrown around, or what?
So many people didn't even know he was in OTK. But if you look at OTK's YouTube
Probably,
channel
right?
that has almost 600,000 subscribers, that was built by Jschlatt. Let's just take a look at the top 10 most viewed videos. 9 of them are involving Jschlatt. He's like 13 of the top 15. He is OTK YouTube. And I think that's a big
pretty dang
thing to lose.
I had no idea about any of this,
And
to be
then the
honest.
week after that, which was actually just last night, we finally got the end to the investigation on Mizkif over the alleged sexual assault cover-up involving his best friend at the time, Crazy Slick. And now, if you don't know, this was basically a
that took a while.
third-party law firm that OTK hired to investigate Mizkif, to which a lot of people, I think, understandably were upset about. They're like, okay, well, aren't you just investigating yourself? But who is supposed to do the investigation? If there were no charges filed by the police and they aren't doing an investigation, it's not like someone's going to magically get up and do it. You kind of have to hire someone to try to absolve yourself. But even if we just ignore the entirety in the investigation, I think it's pretty safe to say that a lot of the allegations made in the original tweet by Trainwreck were outright false. I covered this in a video I made yesterday called I Lied, but if we just go over it one more time again, there was no blackmail. Not an iota of blackmail was seen. When Train said, "Are you going to send Maya and Mitch to cover up sexual assault?" Maya said on a stream that she would have gone on her own volition. And then as far as the one thing that did age really poorly and that was pretty bad of Mizkif, aka this clip. Well, let's just play my reaction here.
Single person that we used to hang out with that doesn't.
Jesus,
hang out with
there's
us
3 of him.
because of what happened. I actually think there's literally none, because the reality is, worst comes to worst of it, it's fucking like sexual harassment, right? I mean, like no one of what you can deem of it, it's sexual harassment, whatever.
Now, this was a clip from Miz that was on his alt stream that didn't sound so nice in the moment, and this is what I said about it.
At a low scale, it's not really a big deal. I don't think people really gave a shit.
This is Miz speaking way too candidly and way too stupidly about sexual assault, saying it's low scale, like there's a tier list that we have to drop every year on what sexual assault we need to rank S tier, what sexual assault we need to rank F tier. And I lambasted him a bit for that comment because it was pertaining to sexual assault, which is like a big deal. But I was wrong. He wasn't talking about sexual assault at the time. It was only known that Crazy Slick, his roommate at the time, sexually harassed Adriana. That's based off her words. Listen to this.
I've only recently figured out and found out, especially without sitting, that it's sexual assault.
So I feel like that covers it. I'm just playing that clip again because it is totally coincidental that I happened to upload that video yesterday or 2 days ago, and then they did this announcement yesterday. Obviously, I have no clue that this was coming.
Makes sense.
Otherwise, it would have been great to just wait a day, and that would have covered it. But yes, rehashing a lot of the original claims of Mizkif covering up sexual assault don't seem to be true. What is true and what OTK did punish him for were his actions on his comeback stream October 11th, which demonstrated a lack of empathy and ignorance towards the seriousness of the situation. Now, I never made a video about this. I never really talked about this, so a lot of you might not know. But after the initial apology that Mizkif made on Twitter...
Wait, I don't get it. People say backtrack, but from what, though? I don't know what the fuck is happening here. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
He kind of went radio silent for a while. He didn't stream for a long time. And then he suddenly was like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to stream. Fine. That's up to him. You know, the investigation wasn't over. It was going a while. He missed streaming. But his comeback stream was, to put it lightly, embarrassing. It started with an hour of him basically stalling because Hassan and xQc were both reacting to him to try to see what he was going to say about the investigation or what he was going to say about the entire situation. And Mizkif, in response to this, played Super Mario 64 and said, I'm going to keep playing until you guys stop watching me. And they didn't. So then he eventually ponied up, and then he said, I have no news. Which by itself would just be like, you know, kind of embarrassing. But then he also had this moment, which was really just dumb.
No matter what, dude, one of my things...
now, this is a tattoo artist who talks about how good he is at cover-ups, specifically with bad tattoos.
I am a master at cover-ups and reconstruction.
Me too, for 4 years.
Excuse me?
I think this will not look good like this. Like, let's...
That's tough. He also pulled up this video of sexual harassment is illegal. It was just kind of tone deaf. I don't think he had a plan going into this stream.
Oh my god! Oh my god! When did this video come out? How dare you? How dare you? 2 hours ago this was posted, and he said tone deaf, which is not a term accepted by the Stanford University anymore. Okay, if you're not up to date with the news, you cannot be saying tone D word any longer because it discriminates people that have certain disabilities.
It doesn't seem like anything involving a sexual assault cover-up was true. It is true that he made an inappropriate joke about sexual harassment and that he had some unsavory clips and like random calls and generally I just don't think handled it as well as he could have or should have. And I think it's pretty clear that my boy Stans had the better path of what you should do in that position.
And you just go, hey, chat, I've been gone for 3 weeks thinking about everything that's happened. There's an investigation going on, so I can't say anything about it. I hope to give you guys the truth, but in the meantime, I am out of OTK on whatever. I'm going to be streaming like normal so I can make money to pay my rent for the next after this, but today I'm going to leave. I hope I can share more information with you soon. And then you turn off stream. That's it. Literally, that's it.
Super mature. Stan's a smart guy. He's someone who I go to for a lot of the things that I need to do. In response, again, to Miz acting inappropriately during this stream and in the wake of all the drama, OTK has decided to remove his board duties effective immediately and place him on monitored probation, which is basically just them saying, hey, we're going to punish him because we acknowledge that it was bad, but we're not going to kick him off. And I think, honestly, if Mizkif wasn't such an important piece of OTK for the first year and a half of its creation, I mean, every big stream was on his channel. He was really carrying the org on the live stream front.
Probation.
He probably would have been kicked off. Straight up. If he wasn't that valuable, they probably would have booted him for just how he handled it. Because if there's a clear goal with OTK here, and it is to remove the bad connotations for the bad things that have happened with some of the org's founders from the org's
I feel like
idea
all of this
in public
makes sense.
context.
We haven't
Basically,
really reached any sort of conclusion.
Trying to clean up their image. right, to put it simply. But I'm going to make a prediction right here. Because although it's been a hell of a year and an even worse month, I think OTK has a bright future. And it's not because of Mizkif. It's not because the other streamers on it, but it's because the people running it. Now, I know Tips. I know he's a good dude, and he's someone who came in clutch for me when I was running my Smash event and my chess boxing event by helping out, by sponsoring it with Starforge. And I know he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a smart guy, and I think he'll take the org good places. And he's joined by Zach Diaz, another guy who I know is a super good dude who worked at TikTok and Twitch. So barring any other drama and barring these two guys leaving the org, I think OTK will probably stick around, although they will always have a bit of a stained reputation with some, and that's just a battle that time will defeat. And that's about it. I think that covers pretty much everything. Let me know your thoughts.
But I think as an org, it's fine though. Like, I think they've always done a pretty good job of like separating the org from like all the people combined at the same time. I don't think at the end of the day, like, I hope you guys understood what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that the people and the org, a lot of times people make the mistake of like growing the org as a person or as two people or whatever the fuck, right? And it's these guys. But they've done a pretty good job at being OTK and the guys. It's like the guys are part of OTK, right? So they can like cut people without the org being too stained by it. That's what I'm saying.
And thanks for watching. All right, subscribe. All right, see you later. Goodbye. That's pretty much it. That happened to the OTK. Don't start an esports org. And honestly, content teams, there's a risk in working with a lot of
being dumb. It's a clear concept. Okay, guys, it's a clear concept. It's a clear concept. Okay, guys, listen. It's like this. Okay, it's like this. Like this. Okay, is OTK. Okay, this is the people under it. This guy. Okay, the distance. Okay, in between OTK and the guys is they've done it well. Where there's enough distance in between, right? That OTK can act and talk to people and make communications that are like this is us, right? And these are our guys. If the distance in between the org and the people isn't a lot, what ends up happening is that whenever something happens to one guy, right? Well, they're right there. So the explosion that happens, bing, bang, 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 affects the brand directly, and it blows up directly into their face. Does that make sense? Do you understand how that ends? So the farther you are to the actual org itself, and the better you do it, when somebody explodes, the damage doesn't hit immediately or too much the main components, right? And I think that's what they've been doing a pretty good job at, is at distancing the brand as a whole and the guys themselves. They've always had two entities, which is very, very important to do. Does it make sense or not? Boom. See, I explained it. Boom.
Yo, this is X on the beat, yo. Okay.
You heard my voice as well.
That ass. Anyone knows that boy? I don't know, he's just so soy. Anyone knows that boy? I don't know, he's just so soy.